So as promised from my Family Guy Time Travel Explained video, here's a rundown of every time travel scene from Family Guy, at least as of recording this video. So in the comments down below, please drop your favorite time travel scene from the entire series, and while you're down there, please remember to hit that like, comment, and subscribe button. I'm still hoping to hit 1200. I am not sure where we're at. We could be possibly nowhere even near 1100, but hopefully we're closer to 1200 by the time this video comes out. But if we're not and you guys can help me out, that would be amazing. And please don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss another video from me. And let's go ahead and get into every time travel scene in Family Guy, and buckle up because this is going to be a line. Sorry. And so the first method of time travel we see in Family Guy is actually in Season 1, Episode 3, Mind Over Murder, where Stewie makes a time machine so he can skip the pain of teething. Now, this time machine can bring you forwards and backwards in time, but it will just fast forward or rewind time as you want to see it, and I went over all of this in my Time Travel Explained video. So pretty much this all culminates with Stewie using it, going back in time, stopping the house from burning down. Peter would then fall on it, break his leg, and thus Stewie changes the future. Then the next time we see time travel is actually in Season 3, Episode 6, Death Lives, when Death takes Peter through time, reliving moments from his and Lois's marriage in order to teach him a lesson. And basically, this is the method where you are just an observer and you can't actually change the past. Next time we see time travel is in Season 4, Episode 26, Stu and Stewie's Excellent Adventure. When Stu meets Stewie, his future self, we find out that about 30 years in the future, people go on vacation in the past using time machine wristwatches. And some of you actually might know this episode from Stewie's Untold Story, because this is essentially the same thing, just in the episode format. Long story short, Stewie gets taken to the future by his older self accidentally, and then some shenanigans would happen, and eventually Stewie comes back in time, changing the past twice in order to get Chris to not marry this girl that Lois doesn't like, and Stewie stops the life-changing event that he thinks will change his future, but he might actually have just set the events in motion. After that, we got Season 5, Episode 18, Meet the Quagmires, where Death lets Peter go back in time to have one chance to essentially just get the wild out, but he actually ends up flaking on Lois, causing them to never get married and for Lois to be married to Quagmire. Using this method, Death basically can send you back in time for a day, and he does this with Peter, and he just keeps trying again and messing it up till eventually Death says, "Nope, I'm done, no more mulligans, you have one more time to get this right." After that, we have the debut of Stewie's Time Machine in Season 7, Episode 3, Road to Germany, when Mort accidentally uses Stewie's time machine, thinking it is a bathroom, and gets sent back to literally the start of World War II, and Brian and Stewie then have to go back in time and save him. Then in Season 10, Episode 5, Back to the Pilot, Brian and Stewie use Stewie's time machine to go back to the pilot episode so Brian could find out where he hid one of his favorite tennis balls. Now, that being said, Brian inevitably goes and tries to make his life better by telling his younger self how to stop 9/11. Chaos ensues, causing multiple Brians and multiple Stewies to come back until Stewie ultimately figures out, okay, the easiest way to stop this is just to stop the original pair from coming back. So he sends everybody back to their original timeline, and then him and Brian take one more jump all the way back, and as soon as Brian and Stewie get there, they basically yell at them to get back on the time machine and go back to their own time, thus erasing this entire process from ever happening. After this, we get Season 10, Episode 12, The Big Bang Theory, and this is where Stewie actually ends up creating a universe when him and Brian break the time machine, and then Bertram actually uses Stewie's time machine to try and erase Stewie from existence, but since Stewie created the universe, it nearly actually destroys the universe, and this is where Bertram dies, and Stewie basically pulls a Fry and becomes his own ancestor. Then in Season 10, Episode 22, Family Guy Viewer Mail Number 2, Stewie uses his time machine to stop Kurt Cobain from killing himself, thus changing the future. Then in Season 10, Episode 23, Internal Affairs, Peter and Ernie the Giant Chicken use Stewie's return pad while fighting, going back in time to the Old West, then hitching a ride back on the DeLorean from Back to the Future. So apparently the events of the movies Back to the Future are actually canon in the Family Guy universe. So there are not only multiple people that know how to time travel, this just sort of means that this entire universe is just one big mashup of crazy. But after that, in Season 10, Episode 26, Yug Yelemov, Brian breaks the time machine when he doesn't want Stewie to know that he has been using the time machine to hook up with girls. So what he does is he tries to just break the glass and move the counter backwards, but what this actually ends up doing is causing time to just reverse itself all the way back to essentially the day that Stewie was born, with Stewie having to be born again after Brian fixed the time machine. So the change here is actually apparently Stewie's time machine has now canonically been there basically since the beginning of the series. Then in season 12, episode 6, The Life of Brian, the time machine is actually destroyed because Stewie can't help himself but to change the past, but this actually makes it to where he cannot save Brian when he is killed by a car. And I know this is not an example of them actually time traveling, but this is kind of important for future relevancy down the line. Because in season 12, episode 8, Christmas Guy, Stewie sees a past version of himself and actually steals his return pad to go back in time and save Brian from dying. And he couldn't save Brian from dying originally because he had destroyed his time machine. Then in season 12, episode 13, Chap Stewie, Stewie actually makes his third time machine in order to stop himself from being born, but he is then reborn into a new family that he basically can't stand. So then he also builds a rudimentary time machine to fix this, and this one is actually erased with that timeline, but he time travels back and stops himself from stopping himself from ever being born, thus just kind of erasing the entire thing that happened. And then in season 13, episode 7, Stewie, Chris, and Brian's Excellent Adventure, Stewie uses his time machine to try and help Chris with his homework by actually taking him back in time to see the historical events happen. In season 17, episode 18, Throw It Away, Lois takes Stewie's time machine down the stairs to get rid of it, and every step she pulls it down, it actually changes everybody. First going into some hipsters, then into a British-like family, then into space where Chris is replaced by Bender, and finally into a caveman times where Meg is eaten by a T-Rex. The T-Rex actually does make it back into modern day and spits out Meg, so she just kind of wrecked the entire time stream there. Also, fun fact, that time machine is not Stewie's new time machine, it is actually his old time machine, so there's no real telling when this particular instance takes place in the whole timeline. But then in season 18, episode 19, Baby Stewie, Brian uses the time machine to go back in time and stop Stewie from taking away his intelligence. And quite frankly, Stewie was probably pretty pissed off about that. In season 19, episode 13, P-Terminator, here they use a portal gun borrowed from Rick and Morty to go forward in time to 2060 to stop Brian from sending a P-Terminator back in time to kill Stewie. And this portal gun is basically just takes you forwards and backwards in time, which is weird, and I know I said this in my previous video, but Rick's guns can't do that, and I hate the fact that they just decided, hey, Rick and Morty's portal gun, screw it, let's throw it into this, and let's just use it to go freaking time travel. When Rick and Morty literally shelves time travel, but that I will be okay. I promise. Where were we? In season 21, episode 15, Adoption, Brian and Stewie use Stewie's return pad to run away from Lois when she tries to tell them a story, and they end up on the Titanic when it's sinking, both of them agreeing that this was better than listening to Lois talk. Then in season 22, episode 15, Faith No More, Brian uses Stewie's time machine to end Christianity from ever existing. They do actually succeed in doing this, but then they are essentially forced to change it back when God shows up and essentially beats them up, saying that you guys think you're the first people to try and stop this from happening with time travel. And that is every instance of time travel that I could find in Family Guy. If I missed some, please let me know in the comments down below. But if not, I hope you guys enjoyed that, and please go check out some of these episodes, because some of them are, quite frankly, some of the better ones in the series. But hey, while you guys are down in the comments, like I said before, let me know your favorite instance of time travel throughout the series, and while you're down there, please remember to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on that notification bell so you never miss another video from me, and I will see you guys in the next video.